In June, it's more typical that we'd see this kind of weather actually, and we're seeing more June-like weather here. And last week we were seeing more like March weather, so we're trying to find May, and it's going to still take a couple days here. But last Tuesday we had temperatures that were in the 40s, couldn't even get to 50 degrees in Cedar Rapids, and now today we are going to nearly double that temperature, getting into the 80s to around 90 degrees. Now there's going to be a bit of a division across the area today in terms of temperatures, in terms of how it feels, because of a cold front that's now stalled out. So it's just kind of hanging around, and that's why last night the bulk of the action thunderstorm wise happened to our northwest. Not a lot of it came down to the south and east, and that's why we're still feeling the heat down here in the southeast this morning, and why to the northwest it feels a little nicer. You can actually see what's going on here with our temperatures, where we have the low 60s up in the northwest and low 70s down to the south and east. That's because of that front that's just hanging there, and that's going to lead to a division throughout the day today. So temperatures in the northwest stay in the 70s to around 80, down to the south and east 80s to around 90. We're going to have plenty of sunshine today. Near that boundary could be a few pop-up showers and storms, but we are going to have a mostly dry day today, and as a result, the heat will just get cranked up even more, and the humidity will certainly be playing a role over the next few days. And we've recently been hanging out down here in this nice comfortable zone with our dew points in the 40s to around 50 degrees, and we haven't had to talk about humidity. Now we do, because yesterday dew points got into this oof range. Today it's in the ope range, where it's gross and it's uncomfortable. And for a lot of us, that's what we're going to be feeling today in the southeast. We'll be a little bit lower on the scale in the northwest, but it's still going to be toasty out there. You can see the impact, though, that it has in terms of what it will feel like outside when we look at the heat index factor, which is what the air will actually feel like to your skin. We talk about the wind chill, which we were just talking about last week. Now we got to talk about heat index values getting to around the low 90s this afternoon. Not as much of a heat index factor in the northwest, but tomorrow, without that boundary around, everyone's going to be feeling the heat, and we will have heat indices in the 90s to near 100 degrees. It is going to be very hot, and this is the type of weather that you do want to make sure you're taking those extra precautions, taking those extra breaks inside, because there's little relief in sight. That boundary may lead to a few pop-up isolated showers and storms today, especially in our northwest, but we're going to be pretty dry for the next several days. There's just some little chances that we could see some isolated storms here and there, and there's a chance that tonight, with a storm system coming through the Great Lakes region, some parts near the Mississippi could catch a shower or storm. But we have all this moisture in place, so there could be some isolated storms here and there. Very typical summery pattern. Higher chances for rain come Friday into Saturday, and then some drier air moves in behind it as we head through the weekend. So for now, we're stuck in summer. Temperatures going to be around 90 in the next couple of days. We'll have increased rain chances Friday into Saturday, and then the heat backs off as we head into the weekend. We do have fog that has just been reducing visibility in some spots, and I was just looking outside here on the northeast side of town. There's certainly some fog out there. It's not terribly dense, but reducing visibility some, and I would suspect even more so by the airport, where you have more of those wide open rural spaces, and that'd be the case as well through portions of Benton, Tama counties, and down south of Highway 30 as well in Johnson, Iowa, Washington, Keokuk counties. We've kind of been seeing this expand here in the last hour, and so you just want to give yourself some extra time and some extra space on the streets. It's definitely getting busier out there, and this looks a lot worse than what it actually is, but this is up in our tower, and we could earlier see the sun starting to come out, but we do have fog hanging out and certainly dense up above our heads, and then we do have some at the surface. It's reducing visibility, so just want to give yourself some extra time. We, in addition to the fog, have some clouds that have been passing through this morning. They'll be moving out as we head through this morning. The fog will clear too, especially towards about 9 a.m., and then we'll get into sunshine today. It'll be much more sunshine out there compared to yesterday, and that will warm temperatures up as well. We're starting off in the low to mid 60s at the moment, and we will climb up toward 80 degrees this afternoon, getting a couple degrees higher than yesterday. We will then have clear skies tonight and the possibility of some fog once again tomorrow morning, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. High pressure is going to be pushing down to the south here, helping to clear the skies, lead to the sunshine, not just today, but for the rest of the work week too. But we'll have some little changes with this as the high pressure system slides to the south and east. Winds begin to pick up out of the south. That's going to lead to some warmer air coming in toward the end of the week, in addition to an approaching storm system that will bring in the chance for rain. But out ahead of those systems, we tend to get a little push of warmth. In the upper levels of the atmosphere too, you can see what's going on here. We got a high pressure system off to the west. That's leading to the heat wave out in the western United States, and we're on the eastern side of this that's pushing in some warmth here. And so we are going to have temperatures running around 5-10 degrees above normal as we go through this week. We will also have the storm track sitting to our north for much of the week. But as we get into the weekend, an area of low pressure trough digs on down here, comes on in, and brings the chance for some rain. There's still some question marks on the timing of this, but we are looking at the chance for some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, and this will also drop the temperatures down. But as we get into next week, the warmth comes back and that high pressure system builds back in. We do have to talk about this chance for rain though as we head through the weekend, and we are going to have high pressure sliding away and a cold front moving in. It does look like things have pushed back a little bit in terms of timing, and this is 7 p.m. Saturday on one of our models here showing the rain still off to our north and west, which is great news concerning the Cy-Hawk game. But towards the end of the game, if this kind of holds, there could be some showers around, and so we will keep an eye on this. Rain may wrap around and linger then into Monday as well, and temperatures will also drop quite a bit as the system comes through. But we are going to have a lot of sunshine as we go through the rest of this week. Temperatures gradually rising through the 80s. We will then have clouds building Saturday, and then rain chances increasing Saturday night into Sunday and Monday, with temperatures dropping down into the 70s. It's been pretty brutal out there, and we're going to have some bitter cold over the next several days. Temperatures that are going to be more typical of what we'd experience in like January compared to November. And, you know, we're like a week and a day removed from being in the 70s. So this is kind of harsh out there. The next 3 days, we're talking about temperatures in the 20s and 30s. And especially the next 2 days, we could be close to some record temperatures. So for record cold, high temperatures today and tomorrow, 19 and 23, we're going to be pretty close. We could tie or possibly break that record, especially on Saturday, set in 1937. And this is some very impressive cold that has moved into place. We've had multiple systems coming through, carving out this cold air, snow on the ground, adding to that cold surface. And this morning, we've had a couple of snow showers and flurries pass through. We do have the clouds out there, and the wind is going too. But as you're heading out the door this morning, getting prepared for the day, and you're getting the kids ready, make sure that you got the layers, the long sleeves, the coats and the hats and the gloves and scarves and all that, because temperatures are starting off in the teens here. We're not going to move all that much, maybe a couple of degrees higher by the afternoon, but it is going to be cold because the wind will not stop through the day. We are going to have winds sustained at around 15 to 20 miles per hour with some wind gusts up around 25. That's going to continue to lead to these wind chills staying well below the actual temperature. Right now, close to zero across a lot of the area. Feels like 2 in Old 3 in Cedar Rapids and Tama, and that's going to be the case this afternoon and tomorrow as well. Temperatures today are going to just struggle to rise. We're going to be close to 20 degrees. We'll have the cloudy skies, some flurries here and there, and with the wind going, it's going to lead to wind chills staying in those single digits through the afternoon. We're going to have tonight wind chills too, staying around 0 degrees, and then tomorrow in the afternoon, 1 p.m. Saturday, not going to be fun to be outside. Wind chills around maybe even below 0 at times because of the wind, and we are going to have that cold air remaining in place through Sunday morning. What's going on here is that we've had one cold front pass us by, and that cold air, Arctic air, is settling into place. As we go into tomorrow, there's going to be a secondary cold front that comes through, could be some flurries out of it. That's going to reinforce the cold air, and as the skies then clear out Saturday night, that's going to allow for temperatures to drop even further. And by Sunday morning, we're talking about low temperatures within a couple of degrees of some records, and we are going to have those wind chills, of course, staying close to 0 degrees as well. So some really bitter cold out there, especially for this time of year when we're talking about records. Quite impressive. It's this cold air coming in from the Arctic Circle that's in overhead in the upper Midwest. Thankfully, does not stick around for too long. It starts to retreat early next week. That's going to allow for temperatures to moderate back toward normal, and we'll also get some quiet days tossed in there as well, which will be great for Thanksgiving travel. We're going to be in the 20s for highs the next 2 days, lows in the single digits and teens. Wind chills during this time near 0 or in the single digits. We get back above freezing on Sunday into the 30s and 40s as we head into next week with dry weather ahead of Thanksgiving. Chance for some precipitation on Thanksgiving Day itself.